Welcome to Under the Hood.
Welcome to Under the Hood, coming to you live this time from Inbound in San Francisco, which is fantastic for us to actually be taking Under the Hood, our little podcast that normally comes to you from Sydney, on the road, I suppose you'd call it, which is absolutely fantastic. So it is, of course, the podcast for anybody looking for some inspiration, some insights, if you're in sales and marketing in particular. And you're going to have a fantastic session. I'm really looking forward to it because we've got some special guests. Let me start, though, with the special guest, Brandon Jones, who's next to me, North American Executive Regional Director. How's Inbound?
It has been a lot. It has been a very busy, very wild week. Lots of announcements, lots of things to be very excited about. Lots of our customers and clients is very hyped about everything that HubSpot has been releasing. So, yeah. It's been a blast.
Well, we've got a couple of great guests with us that we've managed to come on board, which is fantastic. Starting off with Diana Zalaquett, who's over there, Principal Production Manager at HubSpot. We're going to chat a little bit about events as well, like this one that we're at. Always interested to know how things work in the background of an event. We have that experience, but what's going on in the background. Diana, welcome. Did you want to introduce yourself in any other way?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great introduction, so thank you for having me. There is a lot happening in the back, and I'd love to share a little bit more, but that was a great introduction.
Yeah.
Hopefully
we're trying to work out
okay
these.
here.
Normally when we do these, we're not sitting on a couch, so it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Justin Graci.
Graci.
Graci. I thought I was trying to get the Italian in there, and I completely, Anyway, well done, mate. You gave yourself a better introduction than me. Manager, partner, GTM, go-to-market and enablement at HubSpot. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here with a great partner and one of my old coworkers that I used to work with all the time, who I don't get the pleasure of all the time now, but I'm glad that we're on this together.
Yeah, fantastic. And it's so good to have you in person because we saw you before all of this happened, giving us partners the insights into what was happening, and that was a fast and furious kind of webinar, I suppose, that you guys did for us.
Yeah, I brought the energy, I think, that night. 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. my time for APAC crew. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We packed a lot into 90 minutes. So
yeah. Well, let's kick off because there's a lot to go over. We're the theme, I suppose, as quite rightly, Justin, you shared with us, and we felt here at Inbound, is unified, is bringing this unification together. So, we've been focused a little bit on Breeze and how Breeze has gone and now become kind of more gone forward. That is a new embedded AI suite designed to create that easy, fast, and unified customer platform. So, Justin, let's start with you. HubSpot's obviously doubling down on unified, on data, as you guys say over here in the Americas. But with organizations faced with, I still in this moment of AI hype, which I know we're moving away from. We're constantly talking about, and HubSpot's doing this AI hype to AI help. How are you finding people receiving all these new releases, all this new stuff? Are they scared? Are they excited? Or confused?
This has been probably the most exciting inbound season from a product standpoint in a while, in my opinion. And I think what I'm hearing from customers and prospects and even partners on the floor here is the take that HubSpot is the approach that HubSpot is taking with the more friendly side of AI, the humans and AI working together, the hybrid role. Others out there kind of taking a different approach, and I think it is resonating. And going back to the idea of unified as the theme here at Inbound with all of our releases and what we're doing with like Data Hub and bringing your data from any of your systems easily into the CRM, being able to use that rich data in one place and unifying it, then enables you to actually use the AI in a more optimal way. So again, I think HubSpot has a very approachable product. It's easy to use, as we know. I think in terms of it being scary, I don't think it is that scary. We make it a little less scary.
Yeah. Yeah, you do, especially with a smile.
Yep.
It's always kind of like, hey, it was funny. I was talking to a client who I just met there, and I said I went on the Waymo. I used the automated car, and I said I'm going to write an article about how how people are frightened to get into this car and trust that this car is going to get them is similar to how people are jumping into AI.
Yep.
It's kind of like, oh, will I muck it up? Will something go wrong? So stay tuned for that. I'll do an article. Diana, good to see you. Tell us about how data is really kind of driving the back end of events, because I'm one of the great people that love events. I love in person. Seeing the team in person is so much better than the old square Zoom stuff. How are you finding this inbound and the sentiment of people and accepting all of this new technology?
I think the power of Unified goes beyond what we're seeing here at the event and what we'll see after the event, because your AI is only as good as the data that powers it. But beyond that, the context behind all the data that you're feeding all of the AI tools that you're using. And so I think that with the announcement of loop marketing and with changing the narrative from content is king to context is king, we've moved into a different era where that context really matters. But beyond that, what matters the most is the relationships that you're able to build with the folks that you work with. And I think that this specific event was a way to amplify that and to remind folks that at the end of the day, you can have all the AI that you want, but if we're not united as a whole, as a group, as a community, then we're not going to get anywhere. So the human piece and the element of connection, I think, was a big key for us this year at Inbound.
Yeah. No, I do like that, because we often talk about unifying our systems, unifying our data, and we forget about unifying our teams. So, Brandon, I mean, we've had a stand here. You've actually been in the front line of people coming up. So how have you found the conversations been? And I suppose with our teams, how you're finding this unification of the teams into, I suppose, the new future, which is the hybrid team?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I think people are excited. I think people are maybe a little bit overwhelmed, and that everywhere you look right now, there's something new. And it's not just at Inbound, it's not just HubSpot. It feels like the velocity of change right now has been moving so fast. I grew up, I'll date myself here, I grew up in an area where we used a Quark, if anybody remembers that term, for like magazine layout design. And there was once a time that we moved to InDesign, and all of a sudden, you had time to move over. But that was the thing, is you had a year or two to kind of adapt to the new platform, and you had time to figure it out. Nowadays, I look at my watch, and there's not time to actually pick up all these new tools.
It's like unhealthy at this point.
Yeah, it feels like it can almost be like you need an isolation booth is to kind of go and I need to find some peace and calm myself down a little bit. But what we're seeing is also a lot of excitement from people that are coming to the booth. And when they're excited, they're generally excited because they found one or two things that fit into their workflows, right? And if you're overwhelmed, if you're in the audience and you're overwhelmed by any of this stuff, that's my recommendation, right? Look at your own workflow. Don't look at everything else that's out there. You don't need to memorize 400 new feature updates in the last year, right? You don't need to do that. You need to look at your workflow and then go through the product updates and see, hey, I can pick a little bit of this, I can pick a little bit of that, I can actually apply this stuff to my workflow. And all of a sudden your anxiety goes down. All of a sudden you feel a little bit more at peace with the fact that these new tools are being brought to the market in a way that is meant to augment and enable and empower us. They're not there to necessarily intimidate us.
Yeah. It's interesting because, again, the conversation I just had came out of having a meeting with some HubSpotters about, well, as partners, how do we go out into the market and not scare people, but actually get them on it? And it was actually Nicholas Holland that said to us, well, go out there and talk about, I want to work with you on a roadmap, an AI roadmap for your whole org, right? So you don't get into these piecemeal, like just fix a bit out. So to your point about workflow, it's also the customer journey, it's all of that kind of stuff. How can we work on a plan? Because it is a long-term plan. You're not going to fix everything, but everyone has to be unified and working together, to actually help that. Justin, tell us about Breeze, some new releases. Maybe let's get into the toolkit. One of my favorites is Customer Agent now. You've released it out of service. It's now floating around. How's this impacting folks?
I mean, Customer Agent's definitely our number one agent at the moment. Great adoption by our customers, great adoption by HubSpot, ourselves. Prospecting agents also getting up there now. I'd say that's our number 2 agent in terms of functionality. It's been a while. It took a while to get there. since last year when we announced Prospecting Agent, but the functionality is finally there. Really cool stuff that you can do with prompt engineering within the Prospecting Agent. Also, Breeze Assistant with the memory it can now have within it. It's finally like that Chat GPT 5 level experience within Breeze Assistant. So again, much more power than we had come last year. So yeah, I'm excited about it. And again, it is about keeping it easy and approachable. Going back to what Nicholas Holland is continuing to talk about, which is making kind of like your maturity journey through AI adoption as simple as possible. Like everything is so complicated out there right now, and it's happening so fast. So the idea of just every employee should have an assistant for productivity gains, so those quick wins, like you don't have to overthink it, you don't have to reconstruct your whole systems and everything like that. Just find what quick wins you can get out of efficiency gains for yourself, and then having agents that your team can use to help you scale as a business. So again, I love the approach that we're taking and making it very simple and helping our customers make their way through this journey.
Yeah, just quickly for folks, because I know it is a bit confusing on the floor when we're speaking to people about what's an assistant and what's an agent. What's the difference in layman's terms?
Yeah, assistants work with you, agents work for you.
Right, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, excellent. And the idea of having a number of these becomes part of your hybrid team and all of that kind of stuff. Diana, how much of this are you using? You're a HubSpot advocate, so of course, everything that we but it's all new to you guys as well, right? Because we're releasing this stuff, you're releasing this stuff at a rate of knots. We heard, I think it was Yamini was saying that 95% of your development is done using AI, which is why we're seeing this fast release of stuff. So are you keeping up? What are you actually using?
That's a great question. And especially for events, right? We have so many people here. We have 13,000 people roaming around, right? This big space. And of course, we need and want to understand who these people are, why they're here, right? What motivated them to come. And so we have all this data post-event that we just it's a gem for us, right? And how do we navigate all of that data? How do we use it? And to me, the most exciting one is data insights and the smart CRM. Being able to, easily create a smart property from the data that you've gathered. As a person in events, I can easily look up, of the people that were here, what companies also have giant events, right, in Boston or in San Francisco, and what are the things that they're doing. So I can maybe connect with them and see, what are some of the things you've seen that worked, that don't work, right? And so, to me, data insight, smart CRM is something we're definitely going to be using right after inbound. But going back to your point, Brandon, around adoption and the feeling of overwhelm, one of the things that I focus the most on is on preparing and enabling our sales teams to get to inbound and be able to talk to customers, partners, prospects about what's launching. And so we have to train them, right, way before everyone else on these products. And there's so many of them, right? But how do we make it so that the information doesn't go in one ear and out the other? And a lot of this is just around having the pain points correctly framed out and being able to come up with what is not what the product can do, but what problem it can solve. And if we frame it that way, it's a lot easier for the rep to be like, okay, this is how I'm going to position it when I speak to somebody on the floor is, have you ever had this issue or have you ever suffered with this problem? And then go into the product. But I think one model we use a lot is called ADKAR. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's it starts with awareness, right? Awareness of the problem that you have. And then you need to have desire to want to solve that problem, right? Like if, you have a problem with, alcohol addiction, let's say. You're aware that you have the problem, right? But if you don't have the desire to solve it, then you're not going to be able to get anywhere, right? So it's awareness, desire, knowledge, right? So then we prepare the tools to be able to train these teams on what the product is, right? Whether it's a deck, whether it's, a toolkit, all of the resources that they need. And then ability, right? Besides the knowledge, you need to have the ability to be able to talk about it, right? I have the information in a drive, in a PowerPoint, but then how do I actually use that information? And then the most important, I think, the piece that we sometimes forget a lot about is reinforcement. So okay, we gave you all of these tools, all of this content, and then it just all falls flat. Yeah. So the reinforcement piece, I think, is huge, and post-inbound is what we're going to be focusing on.
Yeah. And what is just talk us through, what does that look like? What's reinforcement? It's obviously giving them validation to keep them going, confidence, supporting them.
Yeah, I'll say one of the biggest things we try to do is create recaps, a recap toolkit, sequences they can use to follow up with their prospects and partners and say, hey, like, I saw you at the event. Here are some of the products that I know you might be excited about. Let's talk about them. Let's have a follow-up conversation. So that after the event, it's just not like you go to the event and you leave, right? You have a follow-up. You have a sequence. You send them the on-demand, videos that are recorded. We also have attendance data, so we can see what sessions people went to. And so I can say, hey, Brandon, I saw you went to Amy Poehler's, main stage talk. Like, what were your key learnings from that?
Yeah.
And kind of take it from there.
I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for our reps, too, and your team's doing a great job with it. One of our teams, they have 7 people on the auto prospecting team, and I think it was something like 10,000 meetings booked that they generated through email outreach. That's all AI-generated email copy. And again, it's because we have the data now, and whether that's unstructured or structured, call notes and all of that, live chats that the prospect might be having with your chatbot, we can now pull that in and have that be within the email that goes out automatically. And they've seen an increase of, I think it was 45% increase in conversions on those emails, so 10,000 meetings booked. And that's how we can scale our sales team coming out of all of this too.
Yeah. Because I think that's the buzz, and I know, Brandon, you have, I don't think we've got 10,000 leads off the booth, but
It's a little bit shy of that.
a little bit shy of that. But that this is always the big thing after an event like this, or any good marketing initiative, is you now have to do the follow-up and you have to do the support, but then ideally you've got to get the ROI.
Yeah.
So where are you thinking of following up your just shy of 10,000 leads?
Yeah, good question. So a little bit of it is going to be AI, right? We've already leaned into that stuff. We already actually have some models kind of built out on our end for how to put them into buckets, how to kind of classify them, and how to do a little bit of a swim lane assignment on our team for okay, you're going to take this group, you're going to take this group. And we're using AI to do some of the company background information stuff as well within HubSpot to help us understand, okay, what do they do? Who are their customers? Who are they trying to sell to?
Did they just have a funding round? That type of information?
Very big information, right?
Yeah.
And that's so important for us to understand. So leveraging that kind of stuff as a way to kind of augment and enhance what we would already be doing, right? There was once a day that I would have to go and I have to Google that company. And I have to actually look it up and be like, oh, what do they do? And I have to remember it. And it is so helpful, right? And using some of the AI note taker kind of stuff that we have going on within HubSpot right now, it's so helpful just to have all that stuff. The summary record, the way that we can kind of build out the summary of the contact record, that very, very important to kind of jog your memory. When things are moving that fast, I find myself leaning on AI as a support tool, right? As an assistant to kind of help me with this stuff and help get my brain booted up and ready to go. So when we think about the post-event kind of stuff, for us, it's really about putting it into buckets. A little bit of it's just making a list, right? It's very simple. Just make a list of the things that we need to get done, and then just execute, right? And find the areas where AI can save me time, where I can leverage HubSpot and do it in platform. And that's the other thing that is changing for us. I think back to the couple of years ago, we had spreadsheets, right? We had different ways of kind of interacting with our team. Now we're doing it all in a single unified platform. And that is a game changer because it means that I can work on something and then somebody else can look at it. They don't need to track what Google Doc I was working in. They don't need to track what sheet I was working in, right? It's all in one place. Everybody's looking at the same thing. Everybody can collaborate on that same deal with me.
Yeah. No, I think it's great. And I think, it goes back to, one of the things that resonated for me was Yamini saying we're moving from personalization to personal. It's getting so one-on-one, and some of the examples you gave of, you went to that part of the event. What did you think of it? It is personal. It's not generalized. It's that person and anybody else that went there. All of that stuff's pretty amazing. What I do love here as well, which we may be getting more to, is not even the follow-up. It's actually happening in event. So obviously HubSpot does it so well. You see something you like, a marketing studio, there's a demo or a kind of a class you can go to over there. Then you can go and see the folks. You can have a demo, and I'm sure there's a place you can actually buy it. Here, maybe. I don't know.
Yes,
well, there's a sales rep floating around. Yeah, there is. So you can actually leave inbound with a big tick saying, in the last 2-3 days, I've solved this problem with this solution, and it's already on the system. Yep. That kind of stuff. So let's talk about strategy. So obviously one of the big takeaways for inbound was the strategic approach of Loop. And Diana, you mentioned that at the beginning. So how are we moving on from, so traditionally inbound marketing, I remember 2016 when Brian Halligan got up there and spun the wheel of the flywheel. We didn't have so much of that there wasn't a spinning or revolving kind of loop, but you brought that out at the first beginning part of the day. So let's start with you, Dinah. So in terms of loop, how do you see that as a game changer? Like, should people be jumping into this strategy piece first and then the tools, or is it the tools before the strategy?
I think I'd take the same approach I take with how I enable my teams, right? I take the ADCAR approach, right? Like it starts with awareness, which was what we had with Yamini today. I think that's a very key piece, and it's probably going to take a little while for us to move on from awareness. I think we're going to probably be in awareness until maybe even next year, right? Where people are just starting to learn about this. It's just like when we launched the flywheel, when we launched, the attract, engage, delight, right? We had to stay in that teaching mode for a little bit. And so I think that we're going to start to see our academy team develop more content around Loop, and we're probably going to see a lot of hugs come up, right, where people are talking about it, maybe even podcasts where this is a topic of conversation and people are going to get familiar with Loop, right? Because right now it's very unfamiliar. Only if you've been trained on it, you understand the stages and what they mean. And I think, one keynote is not enough for it to kind of get ingrained in your brain. So I think that's the first stage and where I see us going from here on out.
Yeah. I think it's that, we're not throwing everything out with this, right? It's just more like, I think if you guys have called it an AI playbook in a sense, because there's still these stages of lead gen that we're going to go through, the awareness, consideration, decision. People still kind of buy that way. It's just influenced now by a roller coaster of speed and AI and all these other influencer tools and everything. Brandon, do you think that lead gen and lead flow has changed that much, and this is actually bringing just another lens or another layer to what we traditionally follow as marketing to sales to service?
Yeah. Yes, it has.
Great, thank you.
It is. No. I'm going to elaborate. I take pauses in my responses. People are coming to us to buy from Salted Stone specifically, but we see this across our client roster, prepared. And I could make a joke about it, and I could say they're saving me time, right? There was once a time that I had to educate them. I had to build the awareness. I had to educate them about my products and help them understand that kind of stuff. I had to coach them on how to buy from me and how to buy from my clients. Yeah. All of that is gone right now. I am having buyers show up at my door ready to talk. They have their problem statement. In some cases, they downloaded something that I've given to them, and they have already filled out that sheet, and they're saying, this is what I need from you guys. That's outstanding. It's something that I think a lot of people are scared of, right? Because marketers, we like to control the funnel. We like to guide people through these user journeys. A lot of that's invisible to us right now, but it's okay. We can trust it. There's smart people on the other side. Our buyers are people that we want to work with. We can trust them, kind of use these tools to get a lot of that legwork done. When they're showing up right now, they're showing up ready to buy. It's saving me time, and it's saving them a lot of, let's call it the hassle of being marketed to. Everybody feels that annoyance that we felt 5-10 years ago of like, okay, I'm clearly being sent a marketing email right now. We're cutting through all that stuff, and it's becoming much more personal, like you said.
Yeah. And I think marketing is obviously now so much more prominent, right? With I think last year it was 70% of the buyer journeys happening before they're reaching out to a vendor, where they're answering all these questions and getting all those insights. It's now probably closer to 80-90% as we go in, like, because they've got all of this. So marketing is critical. So if we've got the loop that's helping us flow through, how is the marketing enhancements? And can I just say, Justin, it's fantastic, and Diana, that HubSpot has given some love to the marketing hub. Every year I came to Inbound and I said, oh, another great sales release, and now there's a commerce hub and everything. What about your original hub that started the whole journey, Marketing Hub? But I think Marketing Hub has gone fantastically in leaps and bounds. Marketing Studio and a few others. Talk us through some of the new tools for today's marketer.
Yeah, I mean, we've had to reimagine Marketing Hub, because Marketing Hub, as you guys know, you have longtime partners, like products that facilitated and enabled inbound marketing as we knew it historically. And again, the concept of inbound is still going to be there. People will still go seeking out information, just in a different way. They'll engage with a buyer just at a different point in their journey now. and then they're going to want to be delighted after that. So like the whole inbound methodology is still there, but Loop is now just the tactics that are changing, and we're building the tools to enable those tactics. So the tactics have changed. I would not be spending all of my time on top of funnel Google search content because no one's going to be going there anymore. They're going to an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude and asking it questions. Where information is now democratized everywhere, so they are coming more informed than ever. So yeah, the tools that we're building and have launched this week. So our AEO strategy tool and optimization tool, so we can make sure our customers are being found and understand where they're showing up in these LLMs. So as customers or prospects are searching out information, are you showing up where they're actually seeking that information from? And then even being able to track the sources and the traffic. Like, are you driving traffic from ChatGPT, from Claude? And again, just the tactics are changing. So moving from Google over to an LLM is one of them, and we have the tool that can now enable that. Similar with the email optimization, send time optimization, and that's further down in the evolve stage of the loop. So again, picking up on what's working, what's not, and optimizing, tweaking. And we're able to now give our customers those tools to go do those things. So it's like the capabilities weren't there before, and the data wasn't there, and the information, and now all of that is democratized, and we have the tools that they can now take into the next generation for marketing.
Yeah, which is fantastic. The only thing is, like anything with HubSpot, and I've always said this, you have to feed the machine.
Yep.
So we've got to feed it with content. So this one's for you, Diana. We've got all the tools that we can use. They're all there, all this, great AI and all this kind of stuff. But, when you look at the loop and you're moving into tailoring, so that personalized content to then be amplified, how are you using content from an event like this? Like, you would have not only the insights of everybody and how they've had their experience of inbound, but all this wonderful content. How do you work with that to actually tailor that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. There's a lot of content. And when I say a lot, I mean, we have so much data that we're kind of sifting through right now, but we're doing it at a speed that we never imagined we could get through it, right? And so besides things like session attendance, right, we have information on demographics. We have information on the types of products people showed an interest in. We even created experiences at Inbound this year specifically to build more connection between people. So there are things like the Brain Date and the collabs and the Spark Studios, right? And so a lot of those sessions, we use Otter, right, to be listening in on the things that are happening on the floor. But we're also just going to be gathering all of that data and looking at ways in which we can surface it to reps. So we use the dashboards feature a lot, where we show our reps, the companies that came, the sizes of the companies, the countries that were represented, who showed interest in what. And if somebody went to a specific session that was meant to be about, let's say, Breeze, right? Then that rep is going to know that, hey, I'm going to reach out to this specific customer and talk about Breeze because I know they were interested in that session. Yeah. So I think session data. I also think looking into 2026, we have a lot that we're going to bring into next year. And so November is where we start planning around what 2026 is going to look like. And I think we've gotten a lot of insight into what we want it to look like next year. And it's definitely going to be focusing on amplifying and the amplify piece of the loop, which I think events really, really makes it easy for us to amplify whatever's going on in all the other phases of the loop.
So with all the information that you've got from events, which is going to help you from this year for next year, and talking about unified teams, how do you feed some of those insights and that data into the marketing team? So between now and next Inbound, you've still got a job to do, or the team still has a job to do, getting out to the wider team and the people that weren't actually here that are hungry for it. So how do you help feed that back into the general marketing lens?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot going on post-Inbound with webinars we have to show the fall spotlight. There's a lot of on-demand recordings. We used to do that a lot more, but in this year we were more strategic with what we actually live streamed and what is actually going to be available on demand. But the marketing team will put on a ton of different webinars post-event for people who didn't attend. We also train our internal teams to follow up with people who didn't go to the event and to touch base with them, right? Because we don't want them to feel excluded. And so we'll reach out to them. We'll share all the content with them. And there's a ton of campaigns that are happening. I know Justin's aware too.
Well, yeah, and we get to go home and use all the tools that launched this week too. Like I've been in some of the betas and playing around with them, but not fully fledged yet. So in terms of like the segmentation tool, so we've kind of rebranded lists in HubSpot and put a lot of AI power into it now. So have not even thought about this yet, but like with the event data that we have and being able to auto-generate the right segments of prospects or customers or whoever they are at that stage into these helpful lists or segments, we should call them, that then sales can follow up on, marketing can take and leverage in their follow-up emails and that are going to be auto-generated as well. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we get to go home and play with too.
All of us. I think there's a learning curve for everybody. And as partners, we've got to learn it super fast. You talk about speed to market, like as soon as we're back out there for the customers that weren't here and the prospects, we've got to kind of know what we're talking about. One thing I did love with the marketing as well is digest, I think it's called.
Yep.
So, you know, the busy marketers that are out there, you can actually kind of digest some of that data into meaningful stuff to kind of help you with your campaigns.
Yeah. I mean, surfacing the right insights and data, right where they are in the moment, and somehow still making the platform easier and easier to use, which is wild. And Marketing Studio is another one in Marketing Hub that I think is really impressive. And being able to not have to go through to the CTA tool, then over to the list tool, then over to your landing page tool, and building a campaign out, you can have it all in front of you, and it will recommend exactly when you want to create a landing page. Okay, now you need a CTA on that landing page. You need a form for that CTA. And it's recommending the tools to use, and you're never leaving that experience, and being able to orchestrate it on a canvas is like exciting for me as a marketer. So
I do. We got to call out the HubSpot UI design team.
Yeah.
They have done magic. Fitting this many features into a system that still feels familiar. My background is in design. That is a challenge. That is something that they stepped to the plate and they knocked out of the park. It is incredible the work that they did just at the visual design level. So respect to them.
Yeah, definitely. Somehow, like I said, getting easier to use. Like it's simplifying but still packing all the power behind it somehow.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And I think, you know, what I love as well, being a kind of branding guy, is that HubSpot's brand has been true all the way through. The logo, even though we're adding a few more colors, I think, into the orange is still there, but the sprocket, having everything in one place and connected, is becoming, you've kept that promise all the way through, and the user friendliness, you know, through the UI design and everything, you know, it's the top platform, you know, for users to get most out of, which is great.
Yeah.
Continuing to do that. All right, we're going to wrap it up because I think it's been a fantastic conversation. Everyone wants to get off and see Sean Evans and Brian Halligan with the spicy chicken wings. So we're going to leave with closing remarks. Brandon, I'm going to start with you. Can you share your most eager to see our teams or our clients out there do next with the new playbook?
Oh, man. You threw a curveball for me at the end. I thought you were going to ask me what I was looking forward to. I was going to repeat what Justin said. I've been on the floor the whole time. I actually want to go play with these tools myself and start using that stuff. But what am I excited for clients for? Okay, so here's what it is. We have found that when we're talking to our clients, we work with a lot of different companies, big ones, small ones, large teams, small teams. When we talk to them about AI alone, falls flat. Everybody's, a little bit apprehensive about it, and yet everyone is afraid of being left behind, so they want to use it. What Diana said is the most important thing. You focus in on the problem. You focus in on what the use case is. So what I'm excited about when I go back is start talking to my customers. What problems are you guys trying to solve right now? What are you guys trying to solve? And then we're going to go through that list of all the new features that we have. We're going to find ways that HubSpot's going to deliver on that for them.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it. It's all that context again, isn't it? So it's kind of like, let's work out what we're solving, and then we've got the tools to go with that. Diana, Inbound 26. What's that going to look like? How different is it going to be? You must have been already thinking, I know you got to look at the data, you got to go through all of that kind of stuff. Any kind of, I'm feeling we may be in a different location, but
I can't spoil anything now until a few hours.
Yeah, that's right. Let's not say anything more about that. But in terms of what do you think you'd like, even if you haven't planned it yet, what would you like to see?
I think I'd like to see amplify on connection.
Yep.
And that being and continuing to be a key part of why this event exists is that connection piece. And I think we're getting there, and we're getting to the point where it feels a lot like we're getting these opportunities to build connection. But I think there's still a lot more work to do. And I really want to see that next year. where there's even more opportunities for people to feel like they left the event and they met with people, but not just met in like, hey, how are you, good, and you, and what do you do? But I had a deeper level conversation with somebody, and I left learning something about them and how I can help them or they can help me.
Yeah. And that's a good point. Like, we hosted one of the meetups that you had this year, so the healthcare meetup, and I spoke to a couple of folks after at the end, and I said, well, what did you think of the meetup? You know, because we did clusters, which was a bit different. We're trying new stuff, which is great. And they said it was really, really good that I could meet people that had the same problems as me, you know, so that you're not alone. And I think that's it. A lot of us think with all of this hype and all this stuff happening, I'm behind. These guys must be doing it, and I'm not doing it. But when they get together, they've all got the same problems, and they're all in the same part, which is really good. All right, last point for you, Justin. So, Inbound 26. What are the new product releases?
I have no idea where next year is going to be, but oh my god! But
no, what in hindsight, what do you kind of think we're going to evolve to next year?
Yeah.
Or what would you like to see, if that's easier for you to say?
Yeah. No. I mean, a lot more agents for sure next year. That's going to continue to grow over the next few months into next year. Yeah, I think it's kind of going to have to go along the maturity, both for like where we are as a company, how we're using the product for ourselves, where our customers are in their AI maturity and their go-to-market maturity. So this year, I think it's a lot about helping our customers with, again, those efficiency gains, using an assistant, for instance, finding some quick wins with an agent. And then I think we're going to get more and more to a place of multi-agent orchestration across the platform and really freeing up people's time and scaling their efforts. And for me, like the thing I'm most excited about going home and doing, now that I'll hopefully have some time after inbound planning is over, is to take time on my calendar, block it, and just deconstruct my role, my actual day-to-day job. I want to deconstruct it and say, what can I replace with AI? And I know that sounds crazy for some people, but if you were at Beth Dunn's talk earlier this week, she was talking about this, like, will AI replace parts of your job? And the answer is yes. And the next question is, should it? And it's like, yes, because why do you want to do those things that are kind of miserable? So yeah, I'm going to go and start picking apart my role, picking apart my workflows, and like you said, start with the problems. Like, don't worry about the tools that might enable it. Start figuring out where you could automate, where you could scale with an agent or something like that. Then you can go back and figure out which tools you'll need to actually build into your workflow and enable that.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So if we don't see much of Justin at Inbound 26, he's been successful and his job's being done while he sits back and
It'll be like
enjoys.
HN and a hologram coming together, and it'll be me here.
Sitting on that couch right there next year.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. I think, you know, out of everything we've said, if there's going to be a lot more agents, and I know there will be, and assistants and all that kind of stuff, and people are yet to start, get in and use Customer Agent. Like, that, to me, that covers so many different things. It unifies the teams together, covers now not just service, but across marketing. You're using data and unifying that as well. So I think that's probably a good start. At least start with that and then grow with that. Could be a good way to go. Well, thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe if you've missed an episode. Make sure you don't miss any future episodes. We've got a couple coming out from here. I did one last night direct with Sydney, so I was the guest instead of the host, so that was interesting. I said, do we put our guests through what you're putting me through? This is terrible. But this is good to do it live from the floor as well. So don't forget, there'll be some links at the bottom of this if you're having a look at it. And if you're excited about HubSpot releases, there'll be some links there for you guys to go and go, because you just got to dive in. It's like the Waymo. You just got to get into that seat and let the thing drive itself, and you get there, which is what I did. So thank you very much, Diana. Thank you for joining us. Justin for joining us, and Brandon, second time on Under the Hood. Could there be a third? Wait and see. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.